The Ohio Veterans Hall of Fame recognizes Ohio's distinguished men and women who have worn the uniform of our nation's armed forces and then continue to contribute to their communities, state, and nation through exceptional acts of volunteerism, advocacy, professional distinction, public service, and philanthropy. The Ohio Veterans Hall of Fame. Nominate a veteran today.
Steve Stivers served in the United States Army and deployed in the Iraq War. I grew up in a little town called Ripley, Ohio, came to Columbus to go to Ohio State, and several of my fraternity brothers were in the Ohio National Guard, and they said, hey, this is a great way to help pay for college and serve your country at the same time. So I actually signed up for Air Force ROTC long before I enlisted in the Army. I signed up for Air Force ROTC in 1983, my freshman year, my first quarter at Ohio State, and they gave us our books and started talking to us, and then they talked about haircuts, and I was like, I went up to the guy afterwards and I said, I'm taking this as an elective. Do I have to get my haircut? He's like, this is ROTC, you have to get your haircut. I said, well, you can keep your books. I'm gonna drop this class. So I didn't. That was my first interaction with the military and the Air Force. And in 1983, when they weren't going to pay me, I decided I wasn't going to cut my hair. It wasn't that long. It just was a little bit over the years. But I wasn't excited about getting the military haircut for an elective course. So I did drop our Air Force ROTC, and it was 2 years later that I ultimately enlisted in the Army National Guard. I served for 37 years, from 1985 till 2023. My greatest, most interesting memories probably were when we were deployed to Operation Iraqi Freedom, served in Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, and Djibouti. I was a battalion commander, a lieutenant colonel, so I had about 400 soldiers, sailors, airmen, and then contractors. I didn't have any Marines, but we had contractors working for us, and we were in charge of the postal mission. So our big Super Bowl was from like the 1st of November until a little after New Year's for the holidays, when everybody's getting packages in, and it was a really interesting time, and everybody loves the mailman in combat, so you know, it's your last chance to get grandma's cookies before you leave the fob or go to do something, go out on patrol. So everybody really appreciated what we were doing. And then the other sort of cooler thing I got to do as I moved up in rank, I retired as Major General, so my last few years I was really the European expert for the Ohio National Guard. I got to travel to Europe a lot, and then I started doing a lot of NATO stuff in 2019, 2020, and especially around the Ukraine conflict, just preparing for what that meant. We in NATO deployed, including American soldiers, to the NATO countries, Poland and other places, in case Ukraine wasn't the last place that Vladimir Putin and the Russians decided to go. And then I retired in 2023, and the Ukraine conflict was still going on. The interesting part of a citizen soldier in the National Guard is, you know, 28 days a month we live our regular life. We are at home, we're with our families, we have a job, a full-time job, and then a couple days a month we'll go to our National Guard unit and prepare and drill. I did a little bit of everything. I jokingly tell people that I've had almost every branch except chaplain, and I'm not qualified for that branch, but it was an interesting career that kept me doing different things. Well, again, the great thing about being in the National Guard is you get to serve while you do other things. So the majority of the leadership lessons I've learned in my life, I've learned through the military, and I've taken them into my business career. I served at, you know, Bank One, the Ohio Company, and then I also served in government. I was a state senator for 6 years and in Congress for 12 years. And then for the last 4 years, I've been the CEO of a nonprofit, the Ohio Chamber of Commerce. So the leadership lessons I've taken with me along that journey in the private sector, the public sector, and now the nonprofit sector really came from what I learned leading men and women in the military. So a couple of things I'm really proud of in my legislative career. The PAWS Act, it gets therapy dogs to veterans that have post-traumatic stress. I was the sponsor of the bill that named this the National Veterans Memorial Museum. That's where we're filming today. It's a great honor to be in the Veterans Hall of Fame, and I am not sure I deserve to be here when I look around at the other people who are in my class who are really, really impressive. You know, this Hall of Fame award isn't for me the way I see it, it's for the people I served with and the people I served for. I always tried to be a servant leader, and this is a recognition of their accomplishments and what they did while we worked together.
Selection and induction into the Ohio Veterans Hall of Fame is a great honor. Nominate a veteran today